numbers have gone down. You guys have been with us since we started with this project. You've seen how the numbers have been. We moved from a massive numbers, and now currently the numbers have slowed a little bit down because of the hard work and the lot of work that our officials have already pushed. Remember, the work here that talks to us as Home Affairs and all the other government departments, including the civil society, assisted us to make sure that as Home Affairs we account for over 30,000. We've accounted for over 30,000 people that have been processed through these centers, and what we have noted is that on a daily basis, gradually now, the numbers has decreased. We no longer have massive numbers. The numbers that we are having here are numbers that we are managing to make sure that we push and process them quickly and make sure that we don't even have people that overstay here, except those that will come here midnight coming from all the other provinces. Now, you might have noted the fluctuations. On Sunday, we did around 696, which was the lowest number that we have done as a center. But yesterday, those numbers skyrocketed again. We're operating beyond 1,000 now. We managed to make sure that yesterday we process and facilitate the repatriation of people through 17 buses. And you'll note that on Sunday, we had only 10 buses, and of the 10 buses, 5 went to Malawi. So yesterday, the number of buses that we used increased, the number of people that we removed also increased. We managed to repatriate over 1,100 people out of the country. And then those people were transported with 17 buses. 15 buses went to Malawi. 15 buses went to Malawi as an increase from the 6 buses on Sunday. And then 2 buses went to Zimbabwe. We're monitoring the situation. We're looking at the numbers that are coming in, and as and when they come in, we process them.
Thank you very much. A clarion call there being made by the Chief Director of the Home Affairs Department, Mr. Albert Matsaung. They are still at the Musina Repatriation Centre, along with other officials, including charitable organizations, where, of course, they'll continue monitoring the numbers.
Although the number of people arriving at the Musina Repatriation Centre has started to decline compared to previous days, the operation remains fully active. Government officials continue to process undocumented foreign nationals, verify identities, and coordinate voluntary returns and repatriations in collaboration with neighboring countries. Authorities say they will maintain the operation for as long as necessary to ensure that immigration laws are enforced in an orderly, lawful, and humane manner while continuing to monitor the situation for any new arrivals.
3 weeks ago.
The numbers continue to fluctuate. The people continue to come over to the center. The center is operational. The number continues to fluctuate. We still continue to see some of the people that continue to raise their hands. That confirms that they really need to be repatriated. But they are fluctuating. On Sunday, you might have noted in terms of the report that we presented to you, colleagues, that we had 696 people. And then that resulted with us using 10 buses. Yesterday, we had more numbers. The numbers that came into the center pushed us to use 17 buses. The 17 buses that we have used yesterday are 15 buses that we took them to Malawi, where they transported Malawians, and then the Malawians that we transported yesterday, of course, in terms of their numbers, were over 1,000. We moved 1,015 Malawians yesterday, just to Malawi. And that number pushed us to use 15 buses. Then the other issue is also on the Zimbabweans. The Zimbabweans, yesterday, we only had 2 buses. We managed to move 132 people that wanted to be repatriated. And I think one of the issues that we're seeing is that, remember, these numbers are numbers that are coming in as per the people that are volunteering. One day the numbers are a little bit lower, the other day the numbers have increased, but ourselves on a daily basis we continue monitoring the numbers, and we continue to make sure that those people that came through their embassies that are now saying that we need to be supported, we need to be repatriated, evacuated, we ensure that we deal with those people and provide them with the necessary support. But I can also confirm to you, Katlego, that all the relevant stakeholders are still around. All the relevant stakeholders are still taking and making sure that they deal with their rules. Things are running smoothly. We are just looking at the numbers that continues to come, and as and when they come, we try by all means to make sure that we process them. The issues of the woman from KZN, I must indicate that it's a female who is also with 3 children. And what we have noted, and this is a case now that is being dealt with by social developments, because from our side we indicated that we cannot be repatriating a South African out. And social development came back to us this morning. They presented a report, and the report that they presented is that they've got the identification of the women. They then said that they've got a certificate, which I still have not seen. I said I need to be able to see the certificate, which immediately after seeing the certificate, we can then be able to run our system of Home Affairs and see as to who is this person, and then if we've got him registered within our birth registration and within our national population register. It's a matter that we're still investigating, but confirmation that I have is that yes, social development is handling the matter, and then this is a lady with her 3 children. So one of the things that we're assessing, because remember that you only trust when they give you what you need to see. We need to see the documents that this person is having, and then we also need to see the document that these children are having. It is after that that we can then be able to
South
present
Africa's repatriation program continues to gather momentum as immigration authorities intensify enforcement operations across the country. According to the Department of Home Affairs, more than 70,000 undocumented foreign nationals have been processed for repatriation in country since the start of the process. Over time, every individual undergoes identity verification and immigration screening, while those suspected of involvement in serious crimes are separated for criminal investigation before any immigration process continues. As more people arrive daily from different provinces, the operation highlights both the scale of South Africa's immigration challenges and government's efforts to enforce immigration laws while managing a complex humanitarian and logistical operation.
Malawi, he will just tell us more about the journey from Durban. How is the traffic that side? Thank you so much, Becky. You've been transporting the Malawian nationals from Durban to the center and from the center to Malawi. How's traffic? Are you encountering any difficulties?
Hayi akukho ubunzima khona ukusuka kwethu le eDurban uletha abantu lana to la eCenter sikhamba nabo kamnandi until size sifike la ubuzima obakhona just imist nje inkungu lezi endleleni ukukhamba kwakhona inkinga esibanayo ngileyo.
Maybe let's speak about that side. When you drop the Malawian nationals at Malawi, how is the atmosphere? Is there a center just like this where you drop them?
Yeah, last but dropa khona indawo like stadium. Is a stadium lana sibadropa khona sifika sibadrope lapho and then asiqeda ubadropa lapho and then thina sibheka emuva sibuyela emuva. And then abanye bakhona uyabona ukuthi kunzima ukuthi bakhambe basafuna ukuhlala la eSouth Africa. Hey vele hey kubhlungu.
Also, maybe let's speak about the time frame. Your bus company, how long will it be operating here to transport from Durban to Malawi?
Okay, mina njengami nje angiqale ngelokhuzana nge-20 June. 20 June ukuba transporta ngiqale lapho. Yes.
So is it going to be operational until the center closes? How long do you think you will be transporting the Malawians to their home?
Okay, lapho khona angazi ukuthi so ba transporter until nini, until when. Kunabantu abangiphethe nama bazangitshela ukuthi siba transporter until nini.
Thank you so much, Becky, and safe travels to Malawi. We do know that you are leaving. Thank you. You can go. That is
taking them here to Malawi. Well, there was nothing hectic. There's still nothing hectic, just that there are challenges here and there. Like at the borders, will be taking too long, the agencies, and maybe when you're stuck on the road, it will be taking too long because that's the other country. To be helped, you'll have to wait for maybe the other bus coming from Malawi to come, like I was stuck. Besides that, where the road from Nyamapanda to Malawi, where it's very hectic, but we manage. What will we do? There's nothing we can do. They are excited, you know. The people, they are happy, but it's just that they hunger. People are hungry. You'll see them that there's a struggle. The officers, there will be officers who will be coming to our buses, helping us to get into the stadium, yes, doing their progress. Everything has been done in the stadium. Then we just...
One of the South African bus drivers assisting with the repatriation operation has described the experience as both meaningful and demanding. Speaking about her work transporting Malawian nationals from the Musina Processing Centre, she said the operation has generally gone well despite long distance and some logistical challenges along the way. She recalled one occasion when her bus broke down during the journey, forcing passengers to wait on the roadside until another bus arrived to continue the trip. According to the driver, once they reach Malawi, the passengers are dropped off at a designated stadium, where local authorities receive them and continue with the arrival and reintegration process. She said, despite the challenges, she is proud to be contributing to an operation aimed at helping people return safely to their home country. Gauteng police, together with other law enforcement agencies, have intensified crime-combating efforts through Operation Shanela in Pretoria. During the latest multidisciplinary operation in Pretoria Central and Pretoria West, authorities arrested more than 50 people for suspected immigration-related offenses, while several vehicles were also impounded for road, traffic, and vehicle-related violations. Police say the operation forms part of ongoing efforts to combat crime, enforce immigration laws, and improve public safety. Authorities have reiterated that similar, intelligence-driven operations will continue across Gauteng as government strengthens enforcement against criminal activities and immigration law violations.
For policing in Gauteng. That's Major General Fred Kekana. Thank you so much for coming through. Perhaps we start right there with these over 50 individuals that have now been arrested. Let's talk about this operation briefly.
All right. No, thanks very much, Bongi. In total, that was in the morning when we were still at the roadblock. In total, we managed to arrest 80 illegal immigrants within the operation which we held in Tshwane. And one person also was arrested for employing illegal immigrants. That's what happened.
And this one person, were they traveling with the other person in the car, or what are the circumstances?
No, he was traveling in his work vehicle. We found him with 3 people. All those people he said they are his employees, and those people also confirmed they are his employees, and all of them, they were undocumented. And mind you, in terms of the Immigration Act, the fine is that when you arrest one person, that person, the fine is 10,000 per person, which means this person has to pay 30,000 for all 3 people. And if we found you with 100 people, then it will be 100 times 10,000. You'll have to cough up over $1 million, and so.
And perhaps we talk about that a little bit more, because people are still unclear about that, because people still, continue to stay with people without documentation and all the risks that are involved there. And as you're detailing now, this particular individual found with 3, but there are other individuals who are watching us tonight, and I suppose we address that, so that people are aware of what actually the law says. I want you to reiterate that.
All right. Yeah. Firstly, let me just start with general preventative measure. If you employ anybody, you need to have the full details of that person. Copy of the ID, the origin or the place of origin, the contact details of next of kin. In case that person, he just fall and pass out, then you know who to link with. And that also helps in case at a later stage the same person decide to rob you as the employer. Then you know where to go and you have the record. However, when it comes to now a person employing someone who's undocumented or people who are undocumented, then it becomes illegal because you cannot take somebody who's illegal in the country and employ that person. And this is prevalent in places where you'll find out it's groups of people. They do garden services, they do handiwork, they work in plots and farms. Some of them, they do house chores. They are domestic helpers or in various places. And that on its own, take note, as long as that person doesn't have legal documents to be in the country, you are committing a crime and you'll be arrested for employing that person. And if that person, when reporting of duty, come to someone and where he or she rented, and the person who give accommodation to that person, you too, you need to know, have a copy of the ID, copy of the passport, a valid passport, or asylum documents that are genuine and valid, to ensure that you are safe and you employ or you stay with people that are legally in the country. If you stay with those people and they are also illegal in the country, you will be charged for harboring an illegal immigrant. That also, it's a crime on its own, and will appeal to our people. Let's not do that. Because some of these people, illegal foreign nationals, some of them, they are being actually abused and exploited. Hence, they'll get them on the street, you'll find them standing, a painter, carpenter, etc. Then somebody just come in a back and say, Lord, come paint my house. Where a person who's supposed to earn a certain amount of money per hour, or for the certain type of job, that person is given meager money, which becomes unfair to that person, but it's also wrong in terms of our Labor Relations Act.
Speaking during a recent media briefing, Gauteng Deputy Provincial Commissioner Major General Fred Kekana said many communities addressing concerns about undocumented foreign nationals and criminal activity. He emphasized that while members of the public are encouraged to report suspected crimes and possible immigration violations, they should not take the law into their own hands by stopping, questioning, or apprehending people themselves. Major General Kekana said only authorized law enforcement agencies have the legal authority to enforce immigration laws and investigate criminal offenses. He urged communities to continue working with the police by sharing information, allowing authorities to act within the law to maintain public safety and the rule of law.
Relations Act.
So there is, of course, criticism. I remember when this statement was posted earlier on social media, there were people who were saying you are reactionary in your approach and doing these operations during a time when, we've seen protests. But we've been reporting on Operation Shanela and what you've been doing. And perhaps you address that because it is quite important, because you do have people who are criticizing you as police to say that you're only acting now.
Yeah, no, criticism is good, but it must be a constructive criticism. And in this case, it's an unfair criticism because if you noted, for the past years, when we do Operation Shanela, every time, amongst the results we give, it's how many people we have arrested as undocumented. Just today, I'll just give example. We were at Pretoria Centre and Pretoria West Policing Precinct with Shanela. Just from April to June, just in Pretoria Central alone, Policing Precinct, they arrested 1,300 undocumented. and Pretoria West alone arrested 284 undocumented people. April, May, June. And that time, I'll say there was no this hype of undocumented people, they are full, they are all over. Even before that, we arrested a lot. And just as our weekly reporting as the province of Gauteng guaranteed, if we arrested less for the past 2 years per week, it was 900, 800 to 1,000 something per week as a province, only on undocumented people. And just from Friday up to this morning, before today's Operation Shanela, we arrested 1,302 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then today only, we arrested 266 across the whole province of undocumented people.
So are you finding, though, that with these arrests, when you follow up, where do they end up? Because are you finding that people are back on the streets soon thereafter? Or are you finding that the arrests you're making, people go all the way? What is your follow-up telling?
No, there is a process flow. We as police, we can only arrest, but the people who must confirm and certify and verify the true identity is Department of Home Affairs. And in all Operation Shanelas, which we conduct in this province, Home Affairs is part and parcel. And right there on the spot, they do it. But in some cases, due to the amount of people that we arrest, you'll find out we have only 4 or 5 officials. Then at the police station, they send teams there to process each and every one and verify. And after that, they give us statements. The first working day within a reasonable time, that is within 48 hours, excluding weekends, of course. We make sure they appear before magistrate. The magistrate then gives an order that they must then be taken for deportation. And then we take them to Lindela. Fortunately, we have the National Repatriation Centre in the county, or deportation centre. It's here in our close proximity in our province in Gauteng. We take them to Lindela, and then Home Affairs, Immigration Department transport them to their various countries. As a final one then, before I let you go, there was a shutdown, as they've described it, or protest in Greater Benoni, where we saw, some of the protesters going door to door when it comes to businesses and industrial areas. And they've had the police with them. They were accusing, the owners there of hiring people who are undocumented. There are all kinds of risks, because our reporter, for example, Nomvuyo, was speaking about the fact that some of the people there were feeling rather intimidated and threatened when some of these protesters were coming to their establishments. And then there were police there. So how then do you begin to balance that? Because you now have a situation where people feel intimidated and things can get out of hand very, easily, as we've seen even last week when we had some of the people here who were telling us that they were dragged out of their homes by protesters. All right. Firstly, let me start with this one to say the people who can ask and check and verify whether a person has got the right legal documents to be in the country, it's South African Police Service, Home Affairs, and BMA, Border Management Authority. But the police stand by and watch what happens. I'm coming there. We are the only legal people who can do that. And the law enforcement officers, like traffic officers, they can do that. But as I alluded, we as SAPS, we arrest, but Home Affairs are the only ones who will then certify them. Now, this trend and this notion and this hype that is happening, where people now, individuals, unqualified, not even knowing which document is genuine or not authentic, go around asking people their identity documents, it's illegal. And just to impersonate, to present yourself, asking somebody an identity document on its own, if you are not a legally authorized person, it's a crime on its own and cannot be allowed and condoned. Now, nowadays, these people, they even come this much as to the police station and demand, station commander, give us this amount of vehicles. Call Home Affairs to come with us. Call Department of Employment, Labor, and go with us. That's not how it's supposed to be. We expect law-abiding citizens or citizens that are concerned of crime or illegal thing happening. You go to the law enforcement, you come to the police, you report, at this house, at this business, we suspect there is illegal immigrant. And out of that, we, as police, we plan, we engage relevant departments like Home Affairs, Employment and Labor, etc. Then we execute the plan. But nowadays, they come and they demand that we go with them. And in some cases, when we escort them to protect them and to protect where they say they are going to hand over a memorandum. That's where, in some cases, they will point somebody, do you have an ID? This person is illegal or this group is legal. And obviously, if they point and we are there, we have no reason not to execute because we in our presence. But that's not how it's supposed to be. They share with us information, then we plan and we execute it. Not under duress, not under their watch and being forced, but as our responsibility and day-to-day duties.
Appreciate your time. It's an ongoing conversation. Thank you for coming through today. Thank you so much. That's the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for Policing in Gauteng, Major General Fred Kekana.
Limpopo Premier Dr. Phophi Ramathuba has become the center of intense public debate after remarks she made about the March end. March movement circulated widely on social media. In her comments, the Premier raised concerns about anti-illegal immigration, protests, and warned against actions that she said could target people based on their language, skin color, or appearance. Her remarks have drawn mixed reactions, with some South Africans supporting her call for social cohesion, while others argue that the focus should remain on enforcing immigration laws and strengthening border management. The controversy has reignited a broader national conversation about immigration, policy, public safety, and the balance between law, enforcement, and the protection of constitutional rights.
We simple are saying everyone who is not documented cannot be allowed to be in South Africa. All undocumented immigrants, definitely we are supporting fully that everyone who is in the country, be it in Limpopo or any other country, you've got to follow the laws of that country, you've got to be documented. However, we have noted that during this March, in some instances, there are people who are targeted based on their skin complexion, based on their language. And majority of those people, unfortunately, reside from our province, Limpopo. Because if you are vendor speaking, Tonga speaking, or even Pedi speaking, and you are dark in terms of your skin complexion, and they ask you to speak in certain languages and you can't pronounce the words in those languages, I've received so many reports that those individuals are being targeted. And we are simply saying, we're not going to tolerate that in Limpopo. And we're also saying, you can't be moving from one household to another, removing people based on their skin complexion or on the language that they speak. Because we are amongst those people, when it was not fashionable, we've always raised these issues of undocumented immigrants, be it in our hospital facilities, be it in the certain sectors in terms of the employment sectors. We've raised those issues. And the government did respond it, the national government. The president has appointed the IMC. We are seeing work being done. They've accepted that the border is strengthening our border management authority. BMA has been appointed. Police, we are working with them as provincial government. We are raiding where raids needs to be done. Drug warlords are being arrested. And we welcome all those who made it possible for us to be where we are today. But we can't allow a situation where because I am Limpopo born citizen and I'm dark in my skin complexion, I cannot be allowed to visit any province. That we cannot allow.
Premier, you're calling out tribalism, right? Let's call it what it is, and problematizing that, and that's absolutely fine. Many, however, argue that the line between tribalism and anti-migrant sentiment is a very thin line because it borrows from the same class of sentiment that some people are worthy of being here while others are not worthy of being here. Some people are worthy of our spaces while others are not worthy of our spaces. That is the underlying logic that it follows. Where do you see that line being drawn?
It can only be drawn when you allow those who are mandated by the law to be able to monitor as to who is in the country legally and who is in the country without legal documents. And I think as individual, as society, it's going to be very difficult. Hence you hear us saying, it is wrong for you to be asking individuals for them to show you their documents. It is wrong. And we are saying, we welcome the intervention by the government. There's no one, I will be the last person to say Limpopo is free for everyone, irrespective of whether you are documented or not. That we have never mentioned it. But unfortunately, people want to drive their own narratives. They keep on bringing what we have not. Equally, you can't say foreign nationals who are documented, who came to the country legally, be it some are working but legally, some are students studying legally, some are just here for visit. For us to begin to say everybody must leave whether you are documented or not, there's no country in the world that can be able to exist on its own without citizens from other nationalities. Yeah. So all we are saying, let's allow the law enforcement agency to deal with the matter. You know, previously, when it appears as if government was not listening, maybe people would say we have a point. But right now, we can tell you that the government, the president himself, has even addressed the nation on this migration crisis. And why don't we work with the law enforcement agency to deal with this matter instead of fighting amongst ourselves?
Just a very quick question on that. Is it your view, Premier, that organizations like March and March are not making that distinction?
I think in some instances they are not, because you would not see some of these narratives being. There are certain marches which are happening peacefully. People are demonstrating and we welcome that. That's why you see us receiving memorandum and even acknowledging that this is a crisis that we need to deal with it, all of us together. But equally, at the same time, we want to see them also condemning those amongst themselves who are now attacking even innocent individuals. And until such time, when they start condemning such act of violence, they can't expect us to keep quiet. Look, if we don't caution each other and warn each other against the wrongdoing, what might have started as an initiative to try to address the migration crisis in the country would now become something that none of us will be able to control, because as a premier of a province which is predominantly has the Bafenda people, the Batsonga people, the Bapedi, Balobedu, Batswana, even part of Skukune head Baswati, Mandebele, you know, we then quiet and allow you to come and do door to door, removing people. 90% of the people of Limpopo, you are going to say to the Batswana in Elisras, go to Botswana. Bavenda, go to Zimbabwe, Batsonga go to Mozambique. You're going to chase everybody and will remain with no one. So this is what we are saying. In the first place, if you say you are against illegal or undocumented individuals in the country because they are putting a strain on our resources, some are involved in crime, you are doing it to protect South African citizens. But then you turn around and start attacking the very same South African citizen. So we're saying no to tribalism. And we're saying let's allow individuals who are here legally continue to live together with us.
We're going to have to do it there. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it.
His Majesty King Misuzulu Kozwalathini has concluded a high-profile visit to Zimbabwe, where he held discussions with President Emerson Mnangagwa and traditional leaders on issues affecting the region, including cross-border relations and migration. According to media reports, the visit aimed to strengthen cooperation and encourage dialogue on shared challenges facing Southern Africa. The engagement comes at a time when immigration and border management remain key issues in South Africa, with leaders calling for regional collaboration to address migration in a lawful, orderly, and cooperative manner.
To find solutions to migration challenges facing South Africa and the country grappling with widespread, often volatile anti-immigration and socio-economic protests against undocumented immigrants, which fueled tensions between South Africans and foreign nationals.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken to traditional leaders as well as royal houses about ways to address the migration issue and as well as promote social cohesion. Those discussions prompted King Misuzulu and King Ndamase to then start consultations with leaders across the SADC region.
Now, it's expected that
the situation and stay engaged.